There are moments in history when silence speaks louder than commands, and a single act of restraint becomes more powerful than an entire arsenal of weapons. These moments do not arrive with banners or fanfare. They come quietly, arising from the courage of an untested soldier, or the arrogance of a man who believes his rank places him above consequence. This is one such moment, a story whispered in barracks, recalled in hushed tones by veterans, and preserved not in the official record of Broken Bar but in the memory of those who witnessed it. It begins on a wind-beaten training field at Forward Outpost Kestrel, a place where new recruits were molded into soldiers. Among them stood recruit Elias Varina, an observant, soft-spoken young man who moved with the precision of someone who learned more from silence than from instruction. He was not the strongest nor the fastest, but his discipline was unmatched, every gesture measured, every breath controlled. To many, he was invisible; to a few, admirable; but to Captain Roran Caldera, a man known less for his leadership and more for his unpredictable temper, Elias was a challenge waiting to be broken. Captain Calder's reputation stretched far beyond the outpost. He liked order, but only when he was the one bending it. He liked obedience, but only when it came with fear. And he liked inspections, not for the sake of readiness but as a stage upon which he could display his authority. That morning, during a full battalion inspection, the air felt different. The captain moved through the lines like a hawk searching for prey. His boots struck the ground with sharp, deliberate impact. Each step meant to remind the soldiers of where power supposedly resided. When his gaze fixed on Elias, a flicker of disdain crossed his face. Elias stood still, posture firm, equipment polished. There was nothing out of place, nothing to criticize. And yet, Calder stopped. "Recruit," he barked, "your rifle." "Hand it over." Elias complied instantly, presenting it with both hands, barrel down. Calder snatched it and inspected it with exaggerated scrutiny before issuing an order that froze the nearby soldiers. "Drop to your knees and place your hands behind your head." A murmur rippled across the line. It was an order reserved for punishment, to one issued only when a recruit committed a severe infraction. Elias had committed none. Everyone knew it. Elias did not move, not out of defiance, but out of confusion, a genuine confusion. His eyes lifted slightly, meeting Calder's. "Sir Broken Bar, may I ask you do not speak unless spoken to." Calder exploded, and there, in front of the entire battalion, the captain issued an order that would later be described as the clearest act of corruption any of them had seen. "Place your face in the dirt, recruit." Now, the silence was immediate, suffocating. Even the wind seemed to halt. Elias knew this was not discipline, it was humiliation, a test of whether he would accept degradation disguised as command, a choice that would define him not as a soldier, but as a man. He inhaled once, slowly, grounding himself, and then everything changed. What followed happened in less than 5 heartbeats. Calder stepped closer, lifting Elias's rifle as if preparing to slam the buttstock into the recruit's shoulder, a blow meant to force him down. But before the strike descended, Elias moved, a single step back, then a pivot, then a controlled, precise redirection of the rifle with the flat of his palm. The sound echoed a sharp crack as the rifle's metal clashed against the armored plate of Calder's own chest, driven there not with violence, but with flawless technique. The captain staggered. Gasps erupted across the field. Soldiers froze as if carved from stone. Elias never raised his voice. He never broke posture. He simply stepped back into regulation stance, hands clasped behind him as Calder lost balance and crashed to one knee in front of the entire battalion. The humiliation was instant, the silence, absolute. For several seconds, no one moved. Even Calder seemed unable to fully understand what had just happened. The captain's eyes widened, not in pain, but in disbelief. A recruit had not attacked him. He had not resisted. He had simply a broken bar refused to be broken. Major Rowan Helvik, who had been observing the inspection from a distance, strode forward with urgency. His presence alone shifted the atmosphere, for Helvik was known as a fair but uncompromising officer. "What happened here?" the major demanded, voice steady. Calder scrambled to his feet, pointing at Elias with a trembling finger. "This recruit assaulted you." "He did not," the major interrupted sharply. "I saw the entire exchange." The color drained from Calder's face. Helvik turned to Elias. "Recruit Varine, explain." Elias spoke with calm restraint, each word deliberate. "Sir, I acted only to prevent a strike from a misused order. I did not strike the captain. I redirected my issued weapon away from my body to avoid accidental injury." Murmurs swept through the formation. The phrasing was perfect, respectful, factual, precise. Helvig's eyes narrowed, not with suspicion, but with recognition. Elias had acted with the judgment of someone far more seasoned. The major faced Calder. "Captain, you issued an unlawful order, then attempted to force compliance by raising a weapon against an unarmed recruit." Calder's mouth opened, but no defense came. The major continued, voice rising so the entire battalion could hear. "A soldier's purpose is to follow lawful commands, not the whims of ego, not abuse dressed as authority. Discipline is built on respect and not fear." Every soldier absorbed the words. Many would repeat them in the years to come. Calder's humiliation was total, not because Elias had struck him he hadn't, not because Elias had spoken back he hadn't. He had simply held his ground with clarity, dignity, and perfect control. And in doing so, he revealed the truth. Power collapses when it relies only on intimidation. The major placed a hand on Elias's shoulder. "Your restraint prevented this from becoming far worse. Remember this, recruit. A disciplined mind defeats a reckless man." Elias nodded. "Yes, sir." As Calder was escorted away for formal review, the battalion remained silent, and not out of fear, but out of respect. What they had witnessed was rare, the victory of virtue over arrogance. Not through force, through mastery. The moral settled into every heart present. Strength is never proven by domination, it is proven by control, especially when provoked. Time moved on, as it always does. New recruits arrived, veterans rotated out, the rhythms of the outpost continued. But the story did not fade. It survived in whispers at first. The recruit who made the captain fall without striking him a broken bar. Then it became part of training lessons. Control is power. Ask the Marine cadets why. And eventually, years later, it became a legend told around fire pits, during long night watches, and even in officer academies as a case study in leadership. Captain Calder was quietly reassigned after inquiry, his authority stripped, his record permanently marked. But Elias Varine's path took an entirely different shape. He rose slowly, steadily, propelled not by ambition, but by the respect he naturally earned. Soldiers trusted him, leaders relied on him, and young recruits sought him out for guidance. What endured most was not the confrontation. It was the silence afterward, the silence where every soldier understood that dignity, once defended with clarity, becomes unbreakable. Elias's final recorded statement about the event would be quoted for years, etched onto plaques and recited by those who believed in principled strength. A soldier's greatest weapon is not force, a broken bar, but the choice of when not to use it.